That was the fireside chat by our moderator and panelists. Let's go to our last keynote topic for the day: how to comply with applicable cybersecurity regulation and prepare your organization for the future. For this session, we have none other than once again Mr. Amey Subhash Lakeshri, Director and Cybersecurity Privacy and IR at EY. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please welcome Mr. Lakeshri.
Great. So I'll just keep this slide and we'll start with the points. So we can talk about any law. There are a lot of regulations, laws, and the compliances we talk about day in, day out, right? Even if we don't talk about, definitely we have to comply with that, adhere to that, right? That's what something is, I like a check in the box thing. Few people think about, but it's not true, right? If you have a good security posture, if you maintain security, if you maintain the basics, right, definitely you can easily achieve the compliance. So if you follow the compliance, you may not be able to achieve that, but if you follow the security, IT controls and everything, right, and the basics ethically, then definitely compliance will be there. Saying that, if you see from the India perspective, we have seen a lot of things have been changed in the last few years. Probably by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, himself have taken the cybersecurity as one of the key element. We have heard it from the Amey Shah as well, the Nirmala ma'am as well, right? And again, we have seen a good budget coming for artificial intelligence. So we do understand government also is taking initiatives to promote cybersecurity, and they feel the entire journey is digital transformation or any transformation within the country needs cybersecurity hand in hand. Like it may be the fifth army, like for us, right? Maybe like space is the fourth and cyber is the fifth one, right? So moving ahead, we can talk about a lot of different topics, different data breaches, a lot of threats are there, which we can talk about and understand why we need to do that, right? Now, because we understand when GDPR came, we had a 4 crore, 4%, 2 crore, like, and then we keep on hearing about a lot of attacks are happening, data is getting breached, and then millions of rupees are getting incurred, like an penalty, right? Now, I was just discussing with few of the fellow, panelists also, that what are the different changes we'll see in upcoming data protection bill, right? Probably the data protection bill may have more comprehensive adoption than the GDPR. The baseline might be GDPR itself, but we'll definitely see something very customized and like a tailored one from the India perspective. Because of the dynamic nature of India is serving towards the world, right? The way we have evolved in the world, in the service industry, in the manufacturing industry, and all other sectors, now the pharma sectors, right, going since COVID. And all those aspects needs to be taken into the consideration when we are talking about the cyber automation, threat intelligence, and definitely the compliance. So we'll definitely see something coming in the data protection bill which will be emphasize the cybersecurity. And one of the key pointer lastly I heard about is that Attorney General have actually committed in the Supreme Court that in monsoon session they will be producing the bill itself, right? And I think Supreme Court has given enough time now that they will have next hearing in August. So probably we'll see something in that time range only, coming as a bill. Going next, we can definitely talk about so many acts starting from 2000. Then there are so many amendments done in IT Act from 2008, 10, 19. We saw some on the social media. We saw something on 2021 as well, and it keep going, right? Then SEBI comes into the picture. They ask multiple different regulation. RBI comes into the picture. There are a lot of regulators who drives this kind of compliance towards you. But definitely once we see and if we see the entire ecosystem, if you don't understand your business itself, right, you may not be able to achieve everything. So what you need to achieve is definitely the basics and the minimum regulatory requirement by the law of the land and the countries or the areas where you are serving, right, or if you are having a business over there, even if it is manufacturing or any other service. Now, I would like to have one question to everyone. How many of you are confident, of reporting an incident within 6 hours? You can raise the hand or probably you can just smile. right? So see, that's a challenge. We understand detecting, having a good MTTD, then having MTTR, then will you respond to that or will you go and report to that? That's a practical challenge, but people are doing it, and Certain has become really active. And because I am in the ransomware investigation specifically, I have seen on the same day they have to report, and they are getting so many questions coming to them by Certain itself. They have become really proactive. You will see Certain knocking the door next day to the client. I have seen Certain going and talking to the different clients proactively. Your website is vulnerable. These are the issues. What are you doing? These are the answers I want, right? So that's a good approach, I will say, and that's a positive approach which Certain has taken. And definitely it will help us and push us beyond our thoughts by only looking at the enabling business and also looking at the transformation security which you have. You need to have a modernization of security, right? If you follow this, compliance will automatically come, right? So to achieve the reporting of 6 hours, what do you need to do? You need to do, maybe you need to have a good MTTD, right? That you will understand, detect the attacks within 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Then you have a good legal and the PR team who can draft those particular, quickly draft all those pointers which needs to be reported. So you need to have this kind of exercise being done not only with CISO. It's not only CISO's job. You need to have IT team involved. You need to have a legal, HR, admin, your CEO, board, customers, everybody. You even need to inform them. Then survey will come into the picture if you are applicable to that. That you need to again report them to within whatever XYZ hours. Every quarter you keep on sending them all the incidents, right? All this you have to comply on how many different buckets would be there that you need to comply for. And please understand, when there is an attack, you will be in the panic situation. It is very difficult to understand and do that, right? Because we usually go there, we understand, client is in panic situation, he's saying, boss, I need to take my data center up. Okay, ये इतना बड़ा questionnaire मैं कैसे भरूँ, right? So he always needs some support if they haven't done any exercise. If they don't have a legal person or a DPO or a PR person who knows how to respond to this, how to report it to the different regulatories, right? So this is something you need to do as an exercise where we say drills happens. When you, in drills usually what you check, primary ko down kiya, secondary ko up kiya, right? So that is one activity, but what about this? Do you know how to communicate that? You can do a tabletop exercise. Are you playing a cyber war games? Are you doing that? You need to start doing that. Okay, and do it in 3 different phases. First, you go and talk to the board. Maybe you can do a 2-hour session with them. Ask them a question, business question. What are you going to do with this situation? Right? This is something happening. This is your website page. And there is a video of a CEO talking about the cyber attack. Of course, it's not the real video, but some attacker have made that. How are you going to respond to that? See how the CEO responds, how the board responds. Then have a second session with the management. And please have it with the N-1 because they are the one who are actually doing that. Because usually the leaders usually ask the question to the N-1. So get them into the confidence and do that second exercise. Third exercise, keep doing the attacks continuously for 24 hours and see whether your defense team are able to detect and protect and respond to that. These kind of cyber war games you need to keep playing to come again this kind of incident response. If you do this, compliance is just, again I said, it's just a checklist. You will be able to achieve that, right? Now let's move ahead and understand the importance of forensic empanelment, right? If I may ask, how many of you have already have any forensic partner empaneled? Maybe if you can raise hand. One, only one, two, okay, three, great, 4, ma'am is there, great. See, the adoption looks like quite low, right? Because do we think, yeah, even I was earlier when I was in industry, I used to think, forensics, what are we going to do with that? I don't want to even hear about it. I don't want forensic guys in my team or in my organization, right? Definitely, please understand, doctor cannot treat himself or herself, right? So you guys are expert in your field. You know what to do. You understand incident response. You know everything, whatever I am talking or forensic person would be talking. But you will not be able to do what the forensic guy as a third person would be doing to you at the time of attack. right? I'll give you a simple example. One of the organization I went and they had a cyber attack, okay? And they had multiple locations. The moment we reached there, we are getting some answers by them because we were interviewing what happened, how you are dealing with this. And then say, no, we have just formatted the Active Directory because we wanted to, rebuild it. You should ask us before that because Active Directory is one of the key component where we'll get more of the evidences because attacker will definitely go there, right? We'll try to go there at least. Then they said, okay, but we want to take it up now right away. No, that is not a way because you're in a red zone. You cannot just start the service like that. You need to go to the orange zone. For that, you need to have some checks and go there. Then one of the customer was there who was actually having LAN disconnected and he forgot to disconnect the WAN. So his firewall was continuously under attack, under a DDoS attack itself, and all the logs got overridden. And unfortunately, it was not integrated with SIM. An earlier customer who was having the SIM, his SIM box was in on-prem, it got encrypted. I have seen antivirus getting encrypted, I have seen DLP getting encrypted, the servers I'm talking about itself. Forget about the endpoints, right? We have seen antivirus EDR also getting bypassed. So we do that, we do also understand those techniques when we do the red teaming, right? So we do have some kind of forensic empanelment. If you have that, that will definitely help you. Of course, you will definitely say, I want to be the fortunate one, that I don't want to see the face of the forensic person, but it will also help you in cyber insurance. Last and one more question. How many of you have adopted the cyber insurance? Oh, fantastic. Most of you, right? And the ransom will be the coverage of that, right? For sure. Now, when you have a forensic empanelment, cyber insurance team members will definitely try to see and reduce their claim for obvious reason, right? But if you have a good broker into the place for the official ethical one, and if you have the good forensic empanelment in place, definitely you will see the value out of it. Because the moment they see a authenticated organization doing the forensic, it adds a value. Because there are a lot of questions sometimes being raised ethically on the investigation reports, right? That's where this is very important. So moving next, what are the best practices, what we need to do to comply with the regulations, right? Definitely what I feel the most important is, I think earlier we heard about people versus technology getting married to each other. In most of the panels we have heard Sunil Kulkarni also talked about business impact analysis to be done, etc. But what I feel RCSA is also very important. RCSA is risk control self-assessment, right? You keep calling third parties and ask them to do the risk register, create a risk register and everything. But please take the accountability of your individual domain and expertise and departments. Create a risk control self-assessment. So understand your risk. Those are the inherent one. What are the controls you have to mitigate those risks? Then you will see the residual risk, right? And this is the continuous and periodic exercise you need to keep doing. If you are doing this, somewhere you will understand why I am saying this. Let's take an example. This is also one of the prerequisites of going for ISO certification, right? You need to have IT register. Kulkarni sir talked about BI. BI is also one of the requirement for going for a certification. Now, certification is just a paper, right? But these are the controls if you are following. Please understand, you will be able to go to any level of certification or compliance. Let's talk about cyber program assessment, cyber posture assessment, right? It covers 25 cyber domains together, right? And then you will have a fantastic dashboards of 25 domains in line with the NIST framework of CSF, right? You will see identity mein ye score hai, protect mein ye hai, respond mein ye, recover mein ye, right? And then also you will see people, process, technology wise score. Again, you will see overall the maturity of your organization based on the CMMI out of 5, which is out of 5, right? So those all standards will be there, and if you are following that kind of framework, that will help you. So define your framework, understand what you need to comply to. What are the different laws you need to comply to? One, that is an obvious thing. Second, then what are the different compensating controls you have if you don't have the right technologies and processes? Third, what are the incremental things which are not there? Please accept those risks and go and talk to the board about it. Okay, this is something we have to accept, right? And fourth and very much important, of course, please ensure some third party is coming and doing it for you. Because definitely there will be some biasness when we do it for ourselves, right? RCS is important. Definitely it is important because you are accountable. So don't only rely on third party, that they are only telling you. You should be the expert and understand what is there. That what are you going to protect. And now because of the data, okay, let me talk about this example. First decade of Y2K when computers started, gradually, we understand that it was asset driven. We wanted to protect our assets. So ISO 27000, 2005 came into the picture, right? Next decade became process driven, which is 2013, right? Now it is completely data driven. Doesn't mean we don't want to protect assets and process. You have to keep doing your basics and adapt to the new things. And that will be a challenge. If you go for only new, that is not going to help you. Because even if I just share one more example, usually in interviews, right, when I interview people, some of the kids, they directly start doing CH. And they come and say, sir, we are cyber expert. Okay, Mevla, do you understand network? No. Have you worked on network? No. Can you work on network VAPT? No. Then what do you do in VAPT? I know Nessus tool, I know Bubsuit. I can scan and give you the results. Okay, so see, that is the awareness they should be having. Please understand your basics first. Similarly, what are we going to protect? What are you going to comply for? Let's have our basic understanding first. And then, very important, cross-functional skills, right? Maybe I'm expert in network, but I'm not expert in applications. I'm not good with coding. Then we should have the right guy doing that job, right? And then we should be collaborating and talking to each other, right? If we don't do that, the moment we stop that, it is very difficult. I have seen in one of the small bank where we were involved for doing some of the Active Directory forensic reviews. And then same team, cyber team, was not aware that IT team has already done something on the AD review. So IT and security, they have such a gap with them that they don't know what are the different assessments they have done. So that's where I'm emphasizing and encouraging to have this cross-functional collaboration or cross-team collaborations. If you don't have that, then compliance will be. Hello? Yeah. Then compliance will be very difficult in that case, right? Because I do recall my earlier days, 2016, 2015, when I wanted to do for SSA 16 SOC. Just give me 30 seconds. Thank you. Okay. When I was doing SSA 16 SOC 1, type 1, right? That was my compliance journey, how it started. I had no idea, clue what is SSAE. One of the big four came, I was handling that project. My CISO asked me, go and speak to all the team members and please get it done. But I said, sir, what is this? I don't even know this. But let me try. Slowly I started, there are 45 controls for SOC 1, type 1, which we did with IT, HR, admin and finance. And then we went for a SOC 2, right? And that's where I understand one of the challenge when I saw, we shoot one email to HR saying we need all this information and you need to follow these controls. And the HR head replied to my manager saying, it's June time, we are busy with the appraisals, come after a month, right? So that's a gap. That's a gap of understanding. The mistake what we did, we should have gone to their heads, we should have spoken to them and should have taken a buy-in. Right? Then we went and spoke to them, make them understand why it is important. And we don't need your 8 hours a day, we just need a half an hour of a day initially. And if you do that, after that we don't need your time because you're the only one who are going to do that. That's where that cross-functional collaboration is very much important. That was one of the examples I learned from my experience, right? And then moving ahead, what are the benefits you get if you keep following, of course, avoiding the penalties and fines. Now I heard that maybe data protection bill may not be having any kind of imprisonment. I'm not sure on that, but let's see. We'll see something once the bill is there, right? Improve data management. Because it's a data-driven organization, you are into or you handle data or you don't handle data, again, you might be falling under some of the kind of criteria where it will be either PIA or PHA. You agree or you disagree, it doesn't matter. If you want to give you an example, I'll give you an example. One of the customer I was dealing with, so she was in UK and I was talking to her, and then we started discussing over email. And next mail I got, she wanted us to sign quickly a contract saying, please have a contract with us that we will not disclose our data. And I said, where is your data? When we have taken your data? She's like, you have my email ID now. So please understand, going forward you may use this data and all that. So she was so concerned about that, and she was so particular about it, which is a good thing, I'll say. We should follow that, right? But if we talk about the consent and all that, just understand, a consent manager who will be taking care of all your PI data, which you have given to the entire world, knowingly, unknowingly. Is it possible? Or is it practical? We don't know that. Maybe consent management itself will need some lot of AI, ML technology support going ahead to have that particular process in place, right? So maybe we'll see in future how it goes. Definitely, we'll also come up with a lot of ideas when it will come, right? So definitely we'll get in touch and talk about it. Next, enhance security. Of course, I mean, now it's reverse, right? If you enhance the security, you will achieve the compliance. If you are trying to achieve the compliance, you will see security is getting enhanced, but ethically, not just check in the box, okay? Because, okay, I can share this also. One of the control in one of the organization was to have a offboarding process, okay? Employee offboarding process. So what they did, they had a 3-page form with 10 departments getting signed physically. Now, physical sign means you can put any date. Who knows that? Other way, they also had a email system that all the departments will put an email, okay, I have revoked the access. We started reviewing that, okay, and then somewhere I got the gaps that, okay, these are the 10 people who haven't got offboarded on the same day within 24 hours as per your policy, and you have revoked the access maybe after that, and sometimes I don't know whether you have revoked access or not because there is no email communication. And they said, oh wait sir, we have a form also. Then they bought the form from somewhere, they got it signed, and fresh signed like, yeah, aake rakh diya. We know it. Actually. So that's the way the compensatory control, that's a check in the box to save you from having a good audit reports to show it to the third party. The client was so much of on that mode because they wanted a good clean report to show it to the third party, but definitely we have put it our observation that it is not available on the particular process. It is not followed. These are the gaps, right? So you can save all those things for compliance purpose. But what about security? What if that particular user access, which wasn't revoked, can get used by an attacker or fraudster, right? That is the concern. So having that enhanced security is very important. And of course, the improved access control. So I think we have a lot of experts here talking about it, and Chittaranjan sir is also there who can talk about passwordless security and he can speak on all the topics for maybe an hour. But he also explained me one of the product which he has. So it like you go and have a biometric on the mobile, right? Then app will get login. It's basically for a third party. I'm just thinking the third party it will be very useful. And third party will go log in to that, only that authenticated person. Then he will go to the VPN. He will again have a barcode scan, again authentication, which is again a biometric one. And then again, once he is inside the environment, then you can have a different SSO or AD logins available based on the roles you can give them, right? So that concept is, passwordless concept is good, but practically, once you start implementing, you will see the challenges over there, right? But that definitely improves the access control and helps you, again, to achieve the compliance. The objective of this particular, because topic is only that, how to achieve the compliance. So I'm talking in that angle, but definitely I would like to talk more on how to achieve the security, right? That is something we should be talking about. And finally, the data governance, how it can help you, right? So we know the different zones of data, collection of data till disposal of data, right? But that data governance, who is doing that? Who is owning that? Right? Even if you go to HR, they will say it is not my data. Okay, it is not my ownership. Right? I think one of the question was also there. Then if you put things on HR Mantra kind of applications where you put your, now we're talking about why the banking account details were there, right, Pushkal? He was talking about it. So who owns that data? Who owns that responsibility application, right? So you need to have that RACI, roles and responsibility defined, RACI matrix for all the application owner itself. And if you have, say, 200 applications in your ecosystem, you need to have a centralized mechanism at best which follows your security policy, right? And whatever is decentralized, definitely you need to have a good logging monitoring on that separately with a lot of reviews. Maybe a manual or maybe a automated one, right? So I'll just stop here because I have 10 seconds left. So I'll take a pause and I'll open for questions if there are any. Or probably you can connect me on LinkedIn also, that's fine. Yeah.
Thanks, Amey, first of all, for the insightful session. Just on the last slide, which was talking about the data governance and the cyber part, and probably a lot of us understand that now the data and the analytics part is being so much involved in like each and every function of the business, and so much data crunching happening, and so much data flowing in the files, in the mails, and completely sitting all across the organization. Every employee has customer data, transaction data, and all those things. What, from your experience working in the industry, you have seen are the good practices to remove these copies and the duplications of the data so that organization or the data leakage are not happening internally through the employees?
Wow, very vast question.
If you have seen anything in your experience.
It's kind of my 1 hour pitch, I'll say, a proposal, I'll say. So quickly, first you identify your data sets, okay? You run some data classification tools, try to identify the duplicates, and you will be having 2 types of data, structured and unstructured, right? Then you need to have those integrations with all those elements wherever your data is, on OneDrive, on cloud, on data, on hard drive, on data center, or maybe on email, right? Wherever it is, you need to have those tools to identify those data, and then will tell you the insights, okay? This is where your data is lying, this is where your data is in process, and these are the copies available. Point number 1. Point number 2, from protecting that, you need to again have a detailed data flow analysis. I think Pushkal touched upon that. And then third is data leakage. Then you take any DAM, that's okay. And then you need to understand touch points. Upload hai, web upload hai, USB hai, emails are there, network sharing is there, screen share is there, screenshots are there, mobile hai, MDM solution should be there. Can you send an email outside or no? What he was mentioning about, right? And if you are sending, and if you need to send, you need to automate that process, because if you are in admin or HR will keep sending to the candidates who will be having a Gmail and Yahoo mail. Admin would be having the vendors who are not having the official email IDs, and they need to deal with that. So you may be having everything blocked, and then keep allowing that particular email IDs, right, on the request basis with the approval authority with the need to know basis from a particular time of view. That is something you can implement DLP. Then for DLP implementation, definitely you can sit and understand wherever your data is. But first question, you're right. You need to understand, identify, classify, detect, and then protect. That's how you to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, Mr. Lakeshri, I would like to thank you for your insightful
It's
session.
Lakeshri, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Mr. Lakeshri.
By the way, this is Lakeshri.
Thank you so much.
Amey Lakeshri.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible? Sorry,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Please.
Will I? Okay. So we heard a lot of your context in terms of financial and finance industry. Since you are a practitioner in this field for long, what is the scenario, on ground realistic scenario about pharma and healthcare industry in India in terms of information security today? Because as we have talked a lot about applications and data access, data sets, about financials and financial BFSI, we largely know. But I want to know from you, being a practitioner, is our other industry, healthcare and pharma, coming closer to data security, or they are still in their old world of whatever?
Absolutely, they are, specifically after COVID. Because 3 things you need to understand. One is the IP they must be holding, right, if they are a vaccine manufacturer, etc. Two is the PHI, personal health information, right? Now, why PHI is important? You have a PI data, you must have a credit card, right? You can go and change your credit card or your bank account details, right? But can you change your PHI? You can't. Once it is disclosed, then it is disclosed. So it carries equivalent or even a more value than PII sometimes. That's why the PHI information is something is valuable to the attacker, where they can sell it on a dark web. And from the adoption of the cybersecurity perspective, I have been personally involved in many cyber attacks with the pharma companies since 2020. I do see their posture is moving from almost 1 to 2K range, say 3 to 3.5, right? And their average would be, you can see, around 3 out of 5. And the leader would be around 4 out of 5 into that. So we do see that. Definitely you cannot map it back to them with the banks, right? Definitely it's a journey they will slowly take, but I have seen multiple different pharma companies taking and adopting this kind of journey proactively as well.
Do you see any compliance like HIPAA coming to India sooner?
I do see that.
Okay.
I do see that.
Thanks.
For sure. Because as the first slide talks about the news and all that, where I talked about the initiatives by government, so surely we'll see that.
Sure.
I think
Thanks.
time is up. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause.